Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. Today's guest is the co-owner of Tempe-based Phoenix Analysis and Design Technologies. Do you call it PADT?
We call it PADT. When we started it, we thought that was a cool name and then realized very quickly it's too long.
Well, which provides tools and services to companies that design and manufacture physical products. He's also a startup mentor, angel investor, sits on the board of several tech-related organizations, and is chair emeritus of the Arizona Tech Council Board of Directors. Eric Miller, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on. Really a pleasure.
Thank you. There's a lot of cool stuff to talk about. I'm excited. So where would you like to start? Do you want to talk about how you got into the space originally?
Yeah, my origin stories are always a good place to start. So I was just explaining this to some friends of mine the other day I didn't want to be an engineer, right? I lived out at Litchfield Park. My dad was stationed out at Luke and signed up for this summer camp, because it's hot in Phoenix even back then. And I signed up for creative writing and like artsy stuff, and nobody else signed up for it. So they stuck me in like a pre-engineering class. It's like sixth grade, and boom, I really liked it. Kind of ignored that for a while, graduated from high school, ended up getting accepted into college, and at the last minute changed my major away from a pre-law major to engineering. And I thought I'd give it a try. And it's easier to move back from engineering than it is to move into engineering. So I took the opportunity and again, fell in love with it again. And it allows me to be very technical, but also creative at the same time. So it's both sides of the brain for me. So I ended up here in Phoenix, coming back to Phoenix when I graduated, because I was going to save up money to buy a house in California, and I'm still saving up money for that. Worked at what's now Honeywell and kind of learned the trade there. It's still to this day is a great place to learn engineering. It's just amazing people and amazing products. And after 9 years, decided with two friends that we were going to start this company, PADT, and focus on providing kind of high-end engineering products and services across industries, not just to aerospace. And it worked. And here we are 31 years later, still doing it. And we mostly sell engineering software. That's our biggest revenue stream, is selling the simulation software that engineers use to model their products on the computer. But we also do 3D printing as a service. We sell 3D printers, and we do consulting. We do simulations consulting, and we do 3D printing as a service, and also do design. So we help people come up with their own products and make them manufacturable and producible. So it's a lot of fun. It's been a great career. Next year will be 40 years that I graduated from college. So it seems like 10, and then it seems like 40, depends on the day. But it's been a great experience. And if you love engineering, it's been the best, and which I do. And so really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Excellent. How do you keep your creative side in the business, or how active is it in the business?
So when I was doing engineering, which I don't anymore, right? Because we have actual people that get paid to do that now. But it was design. So, solving problems, figuring out something's breaking, something's not working, or we need a whiz click gizmo to do this or that, coming up with that design. So that was kind of the creative thing. And then creating geometry models is very creative, right? How am I gonna build this representation on the computer of this thing? So that was very creative for me. So there's the math behind all that. Now, I do a lot of writing, a huge amount of writing. In fact, I have a column in the Business Journal that's monthly, and I freelance write for our website and other people's website. Well, I don't freelance for our website. I write for our website, and I freelance write for other people's websites. So the writing really helps. And I do a lot of graphics design. So I just kind of enjoy that. I probably should have other people do it, but I need to use that part of my brain every once in a while. So I'll get in there and play with pictures or a logo or something, and kind of keeps me going.
Right. Okay. In writing, I've found, I didn't realize this, but I was a little late to the party, but how therapeutic and insightful it is to write, to get your thoughts organized.
Yeah, and I'll be honest that I started a Substack. It's coming up on a year now, and I'm kind of using it as a public therapy. I've talked about my weight, my hair loss, starting to run again, the stress of running a business. Yeah, it's good to shout into the wind every once in a while.
Right, right. Okay. Thanks for that. And I'll give you a little sympathy. You got a
Yeah.
glorious head of hair, but yeah,
Oh, it's I'm gonna be asking for tips really soon here.
maybe.
I'm losing it right here.
Well, yeah, you don't want to know my barber. Um, Tech question
Yeah.
on designing or solving 3D puzzles, right? Is
Yeah.
AI getting into that? Is that pretty good at that at this
We're getting
point?
close. Yeah, we're getting really close. It's not there yet. We can use it to do things that don't have to be precise. In fact, we just did it for a marketing campaign for our open house we just had earlier this month. And we had this little 2D cartoon robot dog, and we wanted to 3D print versions of him to hand out. And of course, I sat down on the computer and was very proud of myself because in 3 hours I created a solid model of it. It was beautiful and everything. And then one of our younger engineers says, "Why did you do that?" And he typed a couple prompts in, and boom, there was the dog in 3D. So it's not super precise, right? It's kind of an
Okay.
approximation because it's averaging, but it's getting better and better. And I think it's an extra dimension, so it takes a little bit longer, but we'll get there. You'll be able to sit down and say, "Here's my printed circuit board. Build a box around it." Right, and it'll build a box around it. Or I need a connector with 5 pins that is the USB standard, and it'll just stick it in there for you. So that's coming. People are working on it. It's getting close.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Or scary or both, maybe.
Or scary or both. I mean, that was kind of my existential thing when he showed me how quick it was to do that. And I still think my dog looked better, my robot dog looked better, but I can't argue with the fact that it was
Right.
4 hours versus about 20 minutes. Right.
Right. Right. No, it's true. It's true. Um, okay, so before we get into like the Arizona Tech Council and other
Mm-hmm.
stuff, let's talk a little bit more about PADT and
Mm-hmm.
how it's evolved over the past 30 years and some of the original clients and focus and how you said
Yeah.
it's broadened into all sorts of industries and even in the past few years we've talked a little bit previously
Mm-hmm.
about 3D printing and how that's
Yeah.
changed.
That's changed a lot. Yeah. So, when we started, we were aerospace engineers working on aerospace and telling other folks, "Hey, you can use this technology on your stuff." Intel was one of the first companies to buy into it. It was one of our, so we worked with Honeywell and Raytheon and those folks. But Intel kind of stepped up early on. We worked on the early Pentium for the laptop using some of the
Okay.
advanced simulation capabilities to keep that thing cool. And just kind of went from there. And I can say this year we worked on a dog toy and we worked on a robot arm for a satellite that goes out and repairs other satellites. So this year, I think was the broadest spectrum of those industries. We do a lot of medical devices as well. Same sort of thing. It's kind of rigorous engineering is required, difficult materials, difficult packaging, and so that aerospace background comes in really handy. So it's worked out
Sure.
really well. Um, and our original customers, the National Labs, Honeywell, Raytheon, they're still really good customers of ours. The where we've added customers is in some of the newer industries. Rivian's a fantastic customer. We started with them when they were a startup. We started with our friends at Tesla when they were a startup too, but they stopped outsourcing very early on and kept everything in house. So we got to work on the Roadster before they started making
Oh, the original.
the original.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
That thing was
so
awesome.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and we've seen companies come and go and get acquired. That's the biggest problem we have is our customers keep getting acquired. But it's been a great ride, and still have those early customers still supporting us, and yeah, it's been really good. I can't complain at all.
Okay.
And then the 3D printing
Yeah.
was a great ride. About 25 years of year-over-year growth. Really, really amazing. From kind of hard to believe people are paying for this very fragile thing in the early days, like
Yeah, yeah.
35, 40 years ago, to just I'm blown away at what we can do with the technology. But with time and that much maturity, it's become a bit of a saturated market. The patents have expired on the original equipment, and pretty much anybody can start a 3D printing company. And back during the days of SPACs, everybody did start a 3D printing company and did a SPAC, and then bought each other. It's been quite a ride. And so it's and then other nations, especially in Asia, have gotten involved, and now that the patents have expired. So we're pivoting to more advanced 3D printing. So yeah, I mean, most of the listeners probably either have a 3D printer at home or have a kid or a grandkid that has a 3D printer at school or at home, right? So what we used to sell for $500,000, is not $500,000 anymore. So we're changing, more metal, more advanced printing, more aerospace. We do some really cool materials where we put carbon fiber inside the plastic, and we can do full color printing now. So you can make a complete mock-up of something, and make it soft or hard. So really kind of moving up that food chain. And then most recently, we just announced this month, we partnered with a company out of the UK that is putting a 3D printer on the end of a robot arm. So basically, however big your robot is how big your part can be. And we're really focusing on making fixtures and tools for aerospace and those kind of and marine applications. So think of a wing, right? They make it out of carbon fiber. That is machined right now. That tool that they make the carbon fiber on, we can print that. And we're really excited about that. A lot of our customers are very excited about it. It's kind of one of those technologies people have been waiting for somebody to get right. And we feel like these guys got it right. So we're really excited and showing it around.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Speaking of those types, what did I see? Was it a German company or Japanese company had something, they were using wood out in space.
Yeah. It's a great material. Was one of our favorite things to get R&D, you get into R&D on, is using organic shapes and organic materials in building, because it's naturally very strong, right? And there's some local companies that are working on some proprietary stuff in that area that we hope to be able to talk about soon. Funding's a little tough right now. Capital's a little tight right now. So a lot of that stuff's on hold. Right. But hopefully it'll loosen up here. People get a little bit more adventurous and fund some of these new innovative technologies, and wood and using stone and granite and ceramics, and it's good. If anybody asks you what the future of 3D printing is, it's materials.
So just for context for our listeners who may not understand why I brought that up, or why they were using that, is I believe it was degradable, right? Can it hold up and be functional in space, but then also burn up in the atmosphere when it came out?
It burns up in the atmosphere. Yeah, exactly. So you're not polluting, you're not creating something that's going to hit another object. It's exciting stuff. So there's a lot going on, and in fact, that's the fastest growing part of our business right now is commercial space. It's so exciting. One of our sales guys is head up to Colorado tomorrow to go talk to like 5 different companies. Some are landing on the moon. Some are doing this in-orbit repair. Others are going past the moon. Many are working on cheaper, better satellites here on Earth. It's a really exciting time.
For sure. You mentioned earlier the SPACs and the different acquisitions going on. Has anyone tried to acquire you? Have you ever bought anybody else? How have you grown or not grown?
Yeah, we did one acquisition back in the day. We bought a 3D printing sales company back in the day. It's not something that we actively seek. We get a lot of emails saying they want to buy us, but I think it's just brokers looking for deals, right?
Yeah.
And we like what we do. So, you never say never, but right now, we are definitely seeing a lot of activity. It's great to see our customers grow and get acquired and get merged in with other bigger companies. And then our biggest partner. So we've been a reseller for a company called Ansys since the beginning. It's really the foundation of the company, was selling their software, and they just got acquired by a larger software company. So we've been through, I think it's been, they acquired 30 companies over the years that we've been part of, and now they got acquired. So it's been kind of fun. We're very excited about the new opportunity, because the company that acquired them works more on chips. So now we do from silicon to satellites, and it's pretty cool.
Wow. Yeah, very cool. Okay, well, maybe that'll bring us back to Arizona technology and how things are booming here.
Oh, it's crazy. It was going pretty good. And then we were pretty happy. And then all of a sudden, this Taiwanese company, our Commerce Authority and governor went over and talked to this company called TSMC, another four-letter acronym, and they decided to move to Phoenix. And it was what we needed, right? We needed a big win, right? So that we were getting all these small wins, but when somebody that big and that sophisticated says, "This is where I want to locate," everybody kind of goes, "Oh, maybe we should look too." And it's been fantastic. We own our building, and we've leased out our space to two semiconductor related companies, one from California, one from Australia. And we're just seeing it all the time where people are just moving here. Same with aerospace. Northrop Grumman's, that company's gone through a lot of name changes, but it's owned by Northrop Grumman now. Is growing and bringing more space stuff here. Raytheon, of course, is just booming down in Tucson. Honeywell continues to boom and is now splitting off aerospace as a separate company and headquartering here. So
what's the name of that company?
It's just gonna be Honeywell Aerospace.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, what we're seeing is there was a real trend to nearshore or offshore that manufacturing with automation and kind of advanced computing. That labor price difference, and of course market economics, right? Those countries that were low labor countries aren't so low labor cost anymore, right?
Right.
And so if you throw some automation in there and some better processes, you can actually make the stuff as cheap or better, and you get rid of the shipping costs. So we're seeing some really nice trends. Even I've said some wrong things in my career, and one of them was there'll never be an automotive industry in Arizona. It doesn't make any sense. And we have an automotive company in Arizona, right? And Lucent, and
Yep.
they're doing pretty good these days. And so I was wrong, and we've got automotive suppliers here. And what it was is the shift to electric made being in Detroit not necessary any longer.
Right.
And
Right.
it's been fantastic, and we love it. And being California adjacent doesn't hurt. That's what I always like to tell companies they're thinking about moving here is it's actually sometimes faster to get to LA from Phoenix than it is from Orange County. So,
Right.
yeah, if the traffic's bad.
No, it's true. So, also, I imagine you're the mitigating some of those supply chain issues that showed up over COVID and that whole era.
It woke people up. Right? It was a house of cards, and when COVID blew on it, it fell over. And I think a lot of people are realizing that they can't go through that again. And so they need to really control their supply chain and focus on it.
Actually, and also maybe the security issues with that high tech stuff, right? And the chips and I
think that I want to believe that it's not a problem, but it's a problem. And we need to be aware that not everybody that says they're our friend is our friend. And it could be, politics, could be, geopolitical, or it could be competition, right? But both mean that your IP may not be safe. We have a couple of customers in the golf industry, and that's a great example of intellectual property theft in the golf industry is insane. They'll come up with a new club design and it'll be copied within a few months. And
wow.
So keeping that private and keeping that, sometimes when we work on that stuff, it's almost more security than we work on a missile part.
Wow. Yeah. It's big business. Golf's in particular in Arizona.
Business. And being first is so important. That it's something that's new and different, right?
Market share.
Get that ball to go a bit straight, a little bit further, right?
Yep. Okay. So how's that impacted, and how has the Arizona Tech Council grown?
Well, yeah.
And what's been your involvement in that?
Yeah. So I joined the board, gosh, I got to figure out the math, but probably about 8 or 9 years ago, and then was chairman for 4 years in the middle of COVID and everything. And we're lucky we have an amazing CEO, Steven Zylstra. And if any of your listeners don't know him, they need to know him. If you want to know somebody that's connected with tech in Arizona, it's Steve. He's in the middle of it all. He helped get the council through that, and a little bit of shrinkage, of course, as you would imagine during COVID, but not bad. And since we come out of it, we've grown quite a bit. We just formed a new committee for manufacturing to kind of meet this need of manufacturing growth in Arizona. We've got an aerospace subcommittee. We've got a cybersecurity and AI committee. So optics, which is really big down in Tucson. So we're really focusing on getting people in different kinds of technology together. Smart cities is another one, and really kind of help people build relationships. One of the things I noticed about Phoenix when I started getting involved in the community is there's a lot of people here, and we do a lot of cool things, but we don't necessarily talk to each other. And I always like to say, if our kids didn't play Little League together, I probably wouldn't know that your company was here. And so
Right.
we're really trying hard to create those connections stronger so that you're not going out of state for those services and capabilities that you need, and getting some more synergy going here. And it's working. And that's why the council keeps growing and we keep adding more activities. We've got our big award ceremony coming up in November, the Governor's Celebration of Innovation. The governor comes down and usually announces one or two initiatives in technology, and then we give out some awards to people that have done amazing things over the past year. It's a big party and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so,
you got to highlight that stuff. Those are big wins.
it's big wins, and we have to do that more. I think as a state, we were kind of like, oh gosh, yeah, we just landed a big factory, but you know what? We didn't win that other one. And I think we got to stop doing that and go, we won that factory. And we beat states that are giving money away. They're writing checks and they still came here. Right. And so that's kind of a big deal.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So let's talk about challenges. What's like one of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome in your career?
In my career.
Yeah. Oh, it could be the company or personally.
Yeah, I mean, we'll start with the career. I think people. I think one of the reasons why I was attracted to engineering is I thought I could just ignore humans and go with numbers, right? And
I'm a nerd too. I was, guys generally like stuff, and girls like into people social stuff, right? And more guys are engineers, more women are nurses on average, things like that.
Relationships, I kind of wanted to avoid it, right? And I mean, I think part of me understood how important they were and how important people were and how important relationships were, but it took me a long time to kind of break down my own walls and be open to that kind of thing, and understand that I do a lot of work with startups, and we see a lot of amazing technology, and the company never goes anywhere because the people aren't right. And you can't be successful without both. And that's probably been the biggest challenge I've had to overcome, is to just kind of accept that, and accept the fact that, everybody has strengths and weaknesses. From a management standpoint, that's been my biggest thing, is really trying to learn how to identify those strengths and weaknesses. Don't put a square peg in a round hole. Find a square hole, and they flourish and they do amazing things, right? So yeah, that's been the biggest challenge these days. The biggest challenge is just uncertainty, for whatever it is, whether it's wars or tariffs or taxing or government shutdowns, whatever is going on. It's hard to make a business decision if you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Forget about where you feel about those issues. It's so hard to make a decision. And so that's why capital is not flowing as much as it should be right now. There's a lot of eagerness to invest out there, but the uncertainty is keeping people from moving forward. And I look forward to boring times in the future.
Right. Yeah. I didn't appreciate because we're a consumer economy. They always talk about consumer confidence.
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate that either earlier on. Confidence, emotions, and to your point earlier, being social and understanding people.
Yeah.
I've heard that IQ gets you hired, but EQ gets you promoted.
That's exactly right. And I when I was in school and studying economics and things like that, I remember they always talked about the rational decision maker. And it took me a good 15 years into my career to realize no one's a rational decision maker. We make an emotional decision, and then we find numbers and facts to back up that decision.
Right.
And it's just the reality of how we are as humans. And
it's very interesting.
It is. It's fascinating.
Yeah. Okay. And let's talk a little bit about goals for PADT. You have some future stuff coming up that you're excited about?
I'm really excited about this merger with Ansys and Synopsys, the Synopsys acquisition of Ansys, because of this whole new suite of products on the electronic side of things for us. So we were mostly mechanical. We had some electronics, but mostly mechanical and optical and electromagnetic. So we're very excited about the opportunity to kind of bring these, synergies often laughed at because it's often cited and rarely achieved. But these tools have a lot of synergy, and I think that companies that standardize on a single platform that talks to everything, we're really excited about it. It's a lot of business growth potential and making our customers happier too. So both that's a win-win there. This new 3D printer, the robot 3D printers, got me really excited, and I think just supporting the growth in Arizona for aerospace, semiconductor, and medical. And we haven't really talked much about medical, but we do work in the medical space as well. And the Mayo Clinic and Honor Health are really, Banner's always been a strong innovator. They're all really looking to Arizona as a center for innovation around medical devices. And we're so excited about being part of that. It's a really exciting area. And I don't know, I just feel better when we work on something that actually makes life better for people. So
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, it's more immediate. I mean, a lot of the stuff you do does. It's just it's
long term. Yeah, it's really long term.
It's a few steps removed.
Yeah, making a warfighter safer is rewarding, but so is working on an artificial heart or a new cancer treatment device or a diagnostic tool. So it's all pretty exciting. There's and AI. I'll admit I'm excited about what we're going to do with it, and I'm also terrified. So it's new and different, and we'll have to, iterate as we go, but I think we're going to be able to do some amazing things with it.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So, final point with things we like to talk about are sometimes investing and stuff. I was wondering if you could, your thoughts on creating income outside of your business, because as a business owner, you often probably focused on your business for a long time. You have to sort of balance that at some point, right? And planning for retirement and things. What are your thoughts on those?
Yeah. A couple different ones. When it comes to investing, it's like diversify and leave it alone. I think
that's a good
unless you're willing to work with an expert or become an expert yourself, that's really the thing to do. And I'm that horrible person that says I'm going to learn this stuff and I'll play with it for 3 months and then I get distracted and then it kind of goes south and I'm like, I should have just left it. But I think from a side gigs are an interesting thing that was not part of my youth, right? You worked for a corporation and that's it, right?
You didn't do focus on what you're good at, right?
Yeah, what you're good at, and now everybody kind of has a little side gig. I pay for my vacations with my writing, right? So I get my little checks and I put them in my little side bank account and I pay for my whatever I'm going to do, and I really enjoy that. And I think that it also prepares me for that retirement in that I might consult a little bit in the engineering and startup space, but I think I'd rather focus on these things that are kind of hobbies that I make a little bit of money with now, like writing. And we'll see. I don't know. Yeah.
Sure. Do you ever get any industry insight in some of the projects you're seeing that helps you place capital in the right direction?
We've really become focused.
Our listeners are dying to know, Eric.
Yeah, I really become focused on mega trends, right? And from an investment standpoint, it's all about getting ahead of that curve and getting out before it's too late, right? And I've become a huge fan of the Gartner hype curve.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so the Gartner hype curve says that they did this study on all these different innovations, and there's this hype from a Wall Street standpoint where everybody's excited about it and the price is just the ceiling. And then people realize it's not the godsend that they think it is. And then it falls off. And then at a much slower pace, it goes and it goes and goes and goes and just gets. And so the people that either bought on that dip or bought before the hype and then stayed through the peak and then through the long-term growth, they're the ones that did really well. And so I was talking to a guy yesterday that just retired, or last week that just retired, and he bought Apple stock years and years and years ago. And he sold at the first hype curve, right? But he kept 10% and rode it out over 25 years. And he's not working anymore. He doesn't. And so I think, what are those mega trends? What are people talking about? What are people, what is the investment press talking about? What are magazines that CEOs read talking about? What are people that are going to conferences talking about? And those mega trends, it was batteries a few years ago, right? So it was huge, right? And
Right.
so was a great investment opportunity, as long as you got out in time. And then now it's AI, right? And we're kind of at the peak of that hype curve. People are starting to go, wait a second, I just spent all these money on my AI product and it doesn't work. That's
Right.
fine.
Data centers have peaked and they're coming down again.
But they'll come down and then they'll start going up. And then 10 years from now, they're going to be huge, right? And so
Right.
I think either predicting that initial peak and getting out, or riding it out through the transition is the way to go. And the battery's a good example right now. Now's the time to buy, right? Not to sell, because we need more batteries, and all that
Right.
hype kind of overinflated the market, but people are going to need a lot of batteries.
I secretly I have a dream that AI will figure out some sort of new algorithm and it won't require cobalt or lithium. They'll find
Yep.
some new
Yep. Yep.
solution and it'll
Exactly.
just blow away our energy
Yeah.
crisis. And I was like, that'd be awesome.
Well, and fusion's another one, right? I think we're not in the hype curve for that yet, but we're getting really close to getting fusion to work, right? Which is a kind of limitless way to
Yeah.
produce energy that's much
Yeah.
safer than fission.
We have some I was a physics and chemistry double
Oh,
major as an
there you go.
undergraduate
Okay.
and yeah we got stymied with the math, right? A
Yeah.
grand unified theory, whatever. It's just there's a lot there that AI might be able to
Yep.
puzzle out for us.
And something we haven't talked about, which is quantum computing, right? That's on its way up as well. They got to get it to work, but it may solve that problem as well. So there's these trends come and go, and you got to pay attention to them. And from an investment standpoint, what I've learned the hard way is to turn off the engineer brain and not worry about whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. If people think it's a good idea, invest. And then when everybody's, the old saying, when your great aunt asks if you should put money into something, get out.
Right. Right. That's a good one. Okay, so Eric, you've created things and helped tons of companies create tons of product. You created a company, create a bunch of jobs, and all sorts of great stuff. Do you have any other specific sort of legacy goals?
Yeah, it's interesting to say that, because I went to a writers conference earlier this month, and the speaker uh, is quite an influential writer, a modern writer. And I asked her in the Q&A section, I asked her, what do you want your legacy to be? And she said, my legacy is here, these young students that are writers because they read my book. I haven't done that, but I think my legacy is the employees that we've had that have gone on to create new things. Like the gentleman that started Salad and Go and now has Angie's Lobster and those things. He was one of our sales guys, right?
Okay,
The
nice.
woman that's the queen of dog hotels in the Bay Area, former employee, right?
Oh, cool.
We've got some folks that are senior, like we have a former employee that's a senior manager at General Electric Medical. Um, to me, yeah, I think that the success that exists because people were part of our little experiment that's PADT, and it helped them, or the companies that I've helped mentor.
Right.
I've seen a couple companies do really well that I helped mentor through the startup community or even invested in. Unfortunately, not as many of the ones I've invested in. Uh, and to me, I think that's the legacy. I kind of pivoted after I heard her say that. I'm like, no, you know what? That's kind of cool. You create these ripples in a pond and you don't know
Yep.
where they're going to go. And, 3 generations from now, somebody may cure cancer because their great grandfather got helped by PADT. You know,
Right. Yep. Yep. It's you mentioned it before earlier too, when you said that understanding and working with people,
yeah,
was really what it's
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. I think that's it. I mean, of course, I want to write the next great American novel that will be read by students 300 years from now, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I'll work on the people, the ripples in the pond with the people.
Awesome. Very cool. Thank you, Eric. Now, wrapping up, reflection question. What do you wish you would have known sooner about building wealth or success earlier in your career?
Take more risk.
Particularly when you're younger, right?
Yeah,
You don't have
yeah.
much to lose.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Definitely. It's that old thing of, why aren't you putting as much as possible in your 401k? and because I'm being cautious and I wanted that money for something else. But yeah, I think everybody has their own risk tolerance. and I think mine's higher than I accepted. And I haven't benefited as much as I could have if I would have taken a little bit more risk.
Sure. Okay. Good one. I like that one. Okay, Eric, if people would like to connect with you or learn more, where can they go? What should they do?
The best place to find me is on LinkedIn. So just go to LinkedIn and look. There's a lot of Eric Millers out there, as you would imagine. So if you go Eric Miller, PADT, there's a lot in Phoenix too, so that doesn't work. But Eric Miller, PADT, you'll find me. Reach out. I connect with almost everybody that asks. Don't try and sell me something immediately. Get to know me first, and then try and sell to me. Yeah, and then from there you can find links to our website, my personal websites, the Tech Council, the other organizations that I support, like the Commerce Authority and Venture Cafe, and all these cool things that I'm involved in.
All right. Great stuff. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Thank you, Eric Miller, for joining us and sharing your insights into success and tech here in Phoenix and everywhere. Yeah. Great stuff.
Inspired by our guests? Visit PhoenixProsperityPodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.